now calling this meeting to order. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 from 1975, I want to announce that the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the school district of the Chatham's Board of Ed has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place therein posted in the Board of Administrative Offices, sent to the clerks of both the borough and the Chatham Township, the Library of the Chathams, the Chatham Courier, the Daily Record, and the Star Ledger. For the 8 standing board members, Mr. Gilfillan.
Yes.
Mr. Arnott.
Yes.
Ms. Ciccarelli.
Yes.
Ms. Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Connors.
Yes.
Ms. Crowley. Ms. Kenny. Ms. Weber.
Here.
6 present and accounted for. If everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and the flag is behind on the right. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do want to announce, and obviously it's to me like a little bit after the fact, but obviously in November at election time, we had 3 board members up for election. For the township, it was Mr. Arnick and Mr. Gilfillan. Both were unanimously
Sometimes known as
voted.
Gilfillan.
And for the borough, we had Mr. Valenti running for the 1 seat, and obviously he was a unanimous choice and elected. Obviously, Mr. Gilfillan and Mr. Arnick are on, in this case, 2nd terms or a 3rd term. For Mr. Valenti, we welcome him as a new board member from the borough. At this point, if the 3 of you can all stand, meaning Mr. Valenti, Mr. Gilfillan, and Mr. Arnick. If you would all raise your right hand, please.
That's the other hand.
Actually, we'll go alphabetical order.
I,
Say
Sal
it.
Arnick.
I'm Matt Gilfillan.
I'm Mike Moore.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
Solemnly swear.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
with the authority of the people.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I, who state your name,
I, Sal Arnick.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of a member of the Board of Education,
for the office of a member of the Board of Education,
and not disqualified as a voter
and not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to RS 94-1,
pursuant to RS 9-4-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of that office
all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen, and welcome.
I still leave that 6-pack
It's all funny. Mike, you have to give a speech. No speech. I'm going to follow you.
Welcome aboard, Mike.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to ask the 7 board members if anyone has a nomination for the position of president for the 2017 year.
I'll nominate Jill.
Second.
What's your copycat?
Following the chairman.
I nominate you first.
The position of board president for Ms. Weber, Mr. Gilfillan.
Yes.
Mr. Arnick.
Yes.
Ms. Ciccarelli.
Yes.
Ms. Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Connors.
Yes.
Mr. Valenti.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes. I was trying to count out Lonnie and Kim were here when I have a chance of.
So much for your confidence.
Unanimous, yeah.
At this point, Ms. Weber, it is now your meeting.
Thank you. Do I do nominations for vice president?
Please.
I nominate Mr. Gilfillan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? See how much more efficient that is, Peter?
7-0.
All right. So we're going to continue on now with the regular meeting.
Yes, actually, there's one item.
You gave it to me. Ted, Peter, I'm sorry.
On the agenda for the reorg actions, if Mr. Gilfillan wants to make a motion to approve reorg items number 1 and number 2.
I'll move to approve action items 1, 2 under Article 6, organizational meeting action.
Yes, I got a second from Mr. Harvey. If there's no questions, again, roll call vote, Mr. Gilfillan?
Yes.
Mr. Arnick?
Yes.
Ms. Chickarelli?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Now we're into the regular roll.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I want to get to the superintendent's report very quickly. Just as opening comments, I just want to say thank you again to Michael Valenti for stepping up. He bought all the lies that Mr. Connors and I sold him and said it was going to be fun and rewarding and you'll never regret it. So if anybody sees him running for the door, please just tackle him. But Mr. Valenti comes with a tremendous amount of experience, not just here in Chatham, but also life experience. He's had 2 kids through the district, one still here, much to her chagrin. You're now on the board.
Great.
Oh yeah, 3, that's right. I'm sure we're my 8 kids.
2 still here.
2 still here, 1's not soon to be. Right. But thank you, welcome aboard, and as I said, Mr. Valenti had a long career in law enforcement, so we're looking forward to some of his knowledge in that area as well. Where, as Mr. Connors will probably talk about later, what times are changing, we could use some insight on some of our security issues. So again, Michael, thank you, I appreciate it. Mr. Connors, Jersey City guy, did you want to add to that?
Summed it up by saying it's home Jersey City guy.
Very good, thank you. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. D'Souza?
Thank you, Ms. Weber. I'll move in reverse order tonight and mention to begin with that we performed a canine drug sweep in concert with the Morris County Prosecutor's Office on Thursday. Everything went according to plan. That was our 3rd canine sweep that we performed at Chatham High School in the past year and a half. And it went quickly, probably 10, 12 minutes total, and was not disruptive and was as smooth as we could have expected.
And how many classrooms?
4 classrooms altogether and 1 bank of lockers.
Okay.
The students, of course, evacuate the classroom to the auditorium, depending on where the class is located, either the auditorium or the cafeteria or library media center. And then the canine performs his search, and we're off to the next classroom. Number 2 is just to say that our enrollment continues to gradually grow. Today we have exactly 4,230 students enrolled in the school district. That's up from about 30 students from when the school year began. It's an increase from last year, and this week we began kindergarten registration for next year, so I'll be giving the board periodic updates about how enrollment is coming over the next 6 months or so until the school year ends. And then finally, I'm very pleased, delighted to recognize an accomplishment in the district that I'm fairly confident has never been recognized before because it happens so infrequently throughout the state, and certainly I don't think has ever happened in Chatham before. It also appears under the personnel section of the agenda as the first item, special recognition, and that is to acknowledge Ms. Janet Kramer, who just last week completed her 50th year in the school district. We had a lovely assembly that Ms. Klemp and Ms. Russo put together at Lafayette Avenue School last week. But I just wanted to mention before I ask Ms. Kramer to stand and be recognized by the audience that you'll remember about 5 years ago, a little less than 5 years ago, during Hurricane Sandy, we had a difficult time opening the school district back up. We were one of the first school districts in the area to actually reconvene and welcome students back into our buildings. Southern Boulevard School was without power, and we had to actually bring Southern Boulevard students over to Lafayette Avenue School and the high school to be back in session. And at the board meeting that night when we returned, or the day after, I mentioned that there was one teacher in the district who lived south of Route 22, North Plainfield, in that vicinity. And she actually rode her bike to school on the Friday, the day we opened, in order to get here. And that person, who was, I guess, in her 46th or 47th year at the time in the district, was Ms. Kramer. So as if it weren't enough to dedicate 50 years of one's life to serving the children in a community like this, she decided in her 46th year to come to work on a bike over power lines that had been brought down by Hurricane Sandy. I don't know what more I can say. Truly a remarkable person and a remarkable accomplishment. So Janet, thank you so much for everything you've done for the school district and the students. And I certainly would invite you or Ms. Clem, Dr. Clem or Ms. Russo to say anything that you might like to say on your behalf as we honor your 50 years in the district.
And please do so.
I just loved my time here. When I first came, people were all so friendly, so supportive. It was a very comfortable place to be. So I suppose that's why one year followed another. I didn't mean to stay this way. It just happened.
We have changed a lot of it.
That's what happens with time and years. They pile up all by themselves without any income. Thank you for a wonderful time here.
Thank you.
So Janet works tirelessly, and that's only one of her stories about the bike. She is here morning, noon, and night, and when we used to let staff into the building on the weekends, she was there Saturdays and Sundays at all hours. She still gets all her work done, tons of different projects. The kids always come first. She's very creative, and she's still re-energizing herself with a new art enrichment program last year that, of course, was a big hit and a super success. So everything she touches just, I hate to be cliche, sort of turns to gold, or in Janet's case, paper mache.
I have the unique situation of saying that I was in first grade when Janet came to the district. And it was actually in the middle of my first grade year that Janet took over a lead position for my art teacher. And being one who is not really a very talented artist, probably because I am very left-handed, Janet, I do credit her with being the one that's taught me how to use my left-handedness as a gift. And she told me that I didn't have to do things the way everybody else did, that I could start on the right-hand side of the page and move to the left, so I didn't smear and smudge everything that I was creating. And that's a lesson that has gone through life, and she's just tireless and a remarkable person and one of the most amazing people I've ever known.
Here, here.
Mrs. Kramer, you are what makes this district special. It's people like you.
This
The
district is
gift you
special.
bring, the love to the teaching and to the kids, and that's why this district is what it is, because of you. Thank you.
Is it true you've taught every township resident since 1966 and every resident since 1986?
I think the
67, and then from 88. when
Since
the
we've
original
been at
class.
Lafayette, I've had borough township kids. Before that, I had all township kids.
Well, those of us who live in the borough, we thank you for helping us out.
And thank you for the heads that are in all of our attics.
I'm sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that.
I will have you know that somebody this past week posted on Facebook that they were cleaning out their attic and they pulled out their heads and their kids put them on, and the number of comments on this woman's post about how, did you not just read that it was Mrs. Kramer's 50th year, you cannot get rid of those heads, and all of those heads went back into everyone's attic, so they're not leaving.
I've heard lots of crazy stories.
Oh, I've seen them on the side of Route 24 before. There was one year where a bunch of seniors decided right before they went to college that they were going to take their heads, and they lined Route 24, and there was one section, like right by where North Passaic would normally have an exit, and they lined Route 24 with their heads. It was unbelievable. It was a sight to see when you drove by. Only Chatham people could get it. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, it is. It's an inside thing.
Purposes of a soundbite, you may want to go a little further, lying their heads.
This will be more fun. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for everything.
Any additional comments? Dr. D'Souza, did you have anything else?
That's my report.
Could you email me the enrollment update?
Sure.
I don't think it's in our folder unless it's not. No, thank you.
Yeah, y'all don't have to stay, you've done 50 years, you can leave early.
You can do whatever you want, Mr. Kramer. You can leave whenever you want. Russo, you have to stay, Mike.
Thank you.
Have a great night, ladies.
Thanks, ladies.
Moving on, I'm sorry, Dr. D'Souza, did you say you were done?
All done.
Very good. Moving on to business administrator's report.
Yes, I'm just very pleased to report that as part of the following up or continuation of the referendum, the district will be coming and selling the bonds for the proceeds of the referendum at the end of this month. As part of the normal process, the district had to be evaluated by Standard & Poor's, and they provided a AAA rating for the district, which obviously is a feather in our cap and obviously should help with the bond sale. That's all I needed to report.
Perfect. Any questions for Mr. Paul? Seeing none. Moving on to committee reports. We're going to start off with personnel. Ms. Ciccarelli is the chairperson of that, but
I'm going to do three.
Michelle is going to do the report. Anne had surgery, so she wasn't at the meeting. Not that we're demoting.
As you can see, hence the bid.
Personnel met on December 7th. We discussed the upcoming negotiation of the administration's contract. We also discussed some new regulations put in by the state regarding student teachers in the district and what impact that would have on our district and how we would proceed going with that. And then we discussed the central office opening for an administrative position and how that we're going to hold off on filling that currently until it has more of a scope and sequence which would fit the superintendent's needs.
Thank you very much. Any questions from Ms. Clark? No? Moving on. Curriculum, we have not met. We canceled the last meeting, and our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for February 1st, correct? But you are waiting for us to get back to you.
Yes.
Okay. So would the people of the new curriculum committee let Mike know if the February 1st is going to work out? So Michelle, Lotta, and Matt, and myself. Just double check and get back to Mike. Finance and facilities, I don't think we met.
I'm pretty sure that December 7th, December 9th.
Had a meeting since then?
No, because our meeting is after. Check the folder.
That's correct.
No, I have the policy notes, I don't have.
I don't think we've met. When's the next meeting?
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday?
I believe.
I don't think we've met since then.
Pardon me, Jill, when is the next personnel meeting?
The 18th.
The personnel or curriculum?
Personnel.
No, we haven't met. I'm Matt, sorry.
Okay, we haven't done that. We'll meet on the 18th, but
Okay.
I don't know what time we got. I'm coming back from Dallas, I just don't know what time I'm there.
Sal, yeah, in your folder is the meetings. Okay. So nothing to report there. Moving on to Chairman Connors for policy and planning.
Tradition, I'd like to start, Mr. Chairman. I would like to just point out that Mr. Valenti did not show up for that meeting. We had that meeting before the start of this meeting, during which we discussed a number of items, one of which was the always hotly contested topic of calendars, as when it's going to start for the school year 2017-2018. That is still under discussion. Are we going to...
27-18
Yes,
is on the agenda.
yes, it'll be on the agenda, which I suspect some people in the audience may want to comment on. We also discussed the delayed the delayed openings for when it comes to the parks, just for the high school, more of a rolling sort of things to accommodate the students, but that delayed opening will only pertain to the high school and not any of the other schools. We discussed a couple of residency issues, also discussed there's going to be a change in the bill coming down for qualification of a school police officer, which may give us more, as a district, options in terms of hiring. And we'll also discussed two policies, one of which is dealing with school visitors and how we're going to try to have a better outline on proper procedure. That is, we saw a review of that. That is still going to go back for another revision. And when can we have that, Dr. D'Souza, do you think up for a final next board meeting? Because I'd really like to have
After our next policy committee meeting, which is February 8th is our next policy.
And so that can we
We finalize it then.
Okay.
for our next meeting.
All right, and then I'll work with you on that, elicit input from our board members, and get Mr. Valenti up to speed on it as well, since he's not part of that committee.
Can you circulate it to Rich prior to that, though? In your email?
Yeah, and then I can circulate that to the board, to the members, and then get it to everybody on a bigger scale.
That'd be great.
That's it for policy.
Any questions for Chairman Connors?
Or perhaps Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman? Excellent. Moving on to liaison reports, back to Rich.
Nothing to report from the borough.
Township, Ms. Clark?
Nothing to report from the township.
Back to you, Rich, for athletic boosters.
They have not met since our last meeting. However, they're meeting tomorrow, and I may not be able to make it. Is there something that could make that? Because it's going to be an
I won't be
important
there
meeting.
either, sorry.
Pardon?
I won't be there either, I would normally be there, but.
Yeah, can someone, because they're going to probably have an update as to the fundraiser that they do for the Christmas holidays and the money that they were giving for the first aid squad.
Yeah, I would-
So I'll circulate with somebody, but
No, but I'm pretty sure they postponed it.
Cougar Classic, or the meeting.
No, the Cougar Classic happened, but there was the one game that they were donating to the first aid squad. There was just
Oh,
an
because
email
of the
that they
weather?
postponed it because of the weather. It was Saturday. The boys' game was postponed, the girls' game happened, the boys' game was postponed to February something.
I
So
would,
they may not have
I'll
that
circulate with
vote.
other people. I would like, because I won't be able to make that.
I'll try and make it really.
I'll talk to you later about that.
Okay.
That's it on the boosters.
But I would also mention, aren't they having their fundraiser on the 28th?
Yes,
Oh,
the 28th.
yes, there is that.
That's the 28th, right?
Yeah. And I sound like a broken record, the boosters, athletic boosters, like all the other boosters, the arts and music, they do a lot for the district, more than probably than most people are aware of with their funding. The last meeting, I believe, it was the president identified, they basically have a baseline of $54,000. $54,000 that they pay out every single year, and they've committed to, and they have done that. And that number's grown each year. And in fact, at the last meeting, they agreed to fund additional money for, I think we're going to hear something about paddle and also for sailing. And they're continuing to step up. And what they need most are people to participate. Go to the meetings and donate time and money. You don't need, if you don't have the money, then donate time. They've got the food shack, they've got the snack shack. They have a lot of needs. They do so much for this district. Please give back and help them help us. That's it.
Thank you. Moving on to the Chatham Performing Arts Boosters. Just congratulations to our district band, chorus, and orchestra students who gave outstanding performances during the month of December. In addition to those, we had several of our ensembles share their talents outside of the school. So Ken Bryson, who's our choral teacher, he went to ECLC with his students to Washington Avenue and also to Kinder Cubs. And then Suzanne Bass took her Pops Orchestra to the Victoria Gardens Senior Daycare Center for a concert. So that was nice to step out of the schools and share some of that with our community neighbors. Also, the Lafayette Head Show was this past Thursday, January 5th. The play was called I Don't Really Know You. And again, congratulations to Janet Kramer, who was just here a little bit ago for another inspiring performance. Congratulations to high school musicians who successfully auditioned for Region 1 Band, Chorus, and Orchestra last weekend. They'll rehearse 4 more times over the month and perform full concerts with other top high schools in northern New Jersey. The concert details are on our website. Let's see. Our Chatham Middle School theater craft classes, the stagecraft, they will be presenting their class plays during the week of January 17th. These plays are performed by the theater class, and the lighting and the sound of the stage crew are supported by this middle school stagecraft class. That's a cycle class, correct? Is that one of their cycle electives?
It's elective.
It's an elective, not a cycle. Thank you for the clarification. The stagecraft program is under the direction of Gina Priano Kaiser. The Chatham Performing Arts Booster presented their annual fundraiser, Broadway Under the Stars, this past Friday night. My favorite performance of the year, bar none. This is where the Chatham High School students perform in the cafeteria, which is completely redecorated, and it looks like a nice cabaret, almost not quite in the round. But the nice thing about this performance is the students pick their own pieces. They audition for it and they choreograph it. They decide their accompanists, they decide their music, they decide the piece. It's not something that's produced for them or handed to them. This is what you have to do. This is what we're going to do. It's pieces that they choose. So it was phenomenal. So I was there. I know Sal was there. He had a better seat than I did, but hey, I was in the back of the room. I enjoyed it just the same.
Can I make a comment about, so Broadway Under the Stars, first of all, we should probably also thank Sarge Chris Tomeno for emceeing the event. But it's remarkable. There's 2 full acts of student performances. The amount of talent, and I know this sounds cliche, but some of the kids, the emotion which they delivered, performances they rehearsed, made me tear up. But so there's a couple of really special performances there. They're all special. But the thing that really got me jazzed was there were several performances where they were introduced. This is their first time performing in public, and to see kids get up on stage there's lights, there's microphones, and everyone's watching them, and to do that for the first time and to nail it like they did, those were more special than the best performance of the night, because those kids now have confidence. It'll help them with communication in so many disciplines, and hopefully they'll continue in the performing arts tradition.
Thank you, Sal. That was great. Thank you for adding that. And there was a young man who had just moved here recently from California, and there he is up on the stage belting out.
Yeah.
A phenomenal tune. It was unbelievable. So that's always a great night, and it was packed. I don't know if it was sold out, but I was in the back of the room. And
Sold out.
Yeah, and there was not a seat to be had, except for yours, of course, in the front row. And just finally, please mark your calendar for the middle school production of Sound of Music Junior. This will be Thursday, February 2nd at 6 p.m., Friday and Saturday, February 3rd and 4th at 7 p.m. Tickets are available through the Chatham Middle School office and will also be available at the door the night of the show, but just a heads up, they're typically sold out by the night of the show, so if you're interested, please get those ahead of time. If you have any questions, please see me after. Education...
Jill, can I just add one thing to the music and theater boosters? Just a shout out to Chatham High senior Sean McCarty, who was selected for the All-Eastern Band, which I just read it in TAP, actually, great article. And it's the highest honor a high school band student can accomplish on the East Coast of the United States. I don't know of any other times that has been the case for a Chatham student, and I think it's pretty remarkable and amazing. So kudos to him. He's going to Atlantic City for he's been rehearsing with this All-Eastern Band, and he's going to Atlantic City for a performance in April, so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Education Foundation, Ms. Kenny's not here. Recreation, Matt? Okay, and PTO District Cabinet, they met, but what was discussed? I wasn't present, do you recall?
We met on Wednesday.
Okay.
There was nothing too significant.
Okay, calendar talk. Okay. An update on any of the projects, or no? Was that
I gave an update on referendum projects, and we talked a little bit about PTO and Richmond.
Okay, very good. All right. Thank you. Then I would like to make a motion to pass the minutes of the December 5th public and private session, as well as the December 19th public and private
I
session.
came in to, the December 19th needs to get tabled. There's only 5 board members at that meeting, and there's only 4 here, so the motion can't
How was
pass.
that?
So we'll just do December 5th.
That's why we brought Mike on.
It wasn't at that meeting.
You're splitting the hairs with me. Okay, so December 5th, public and private sessions.
Second.
Who needs to abstain, Peter, from the December?
Just Mr. Valenti.
Oh, is that right? Okay, then roll call vote, please.
The minutes, public and private from December 5th. Mr. Gilfield?
Yes.
Mr. Arning?
Yes.
Ms. Chigarelli?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
I was there.
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Here.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Agenda items passed 601.
So we'll do the 19th at the next meeting,
Yes.
provided those,
Provided the magic 5 are in
the
attendance.
same 5 are in attendance. That might have been the final 5. Okay, very good. Well, let us know if we get too close to anybody's retirement, and then we'll have to just convene a session. So we have our first opportunity for public commentary, which we're going to do on this side of the room. If you would sign in at the back table, and then just, address the board. If there's a ton of people that want to speak, if you could just be conscious of the time. But feel free to step up on this side of the room, and if you could sign in. And just a reminder, this public commentary is an opportunity for the public to make any comments, suggestions, compliments that they might want to dole out. It's not really an opportunity for, thank you, Ed. It's not really an opportunity for too much depth of back and forth. If it's a quick answer, we'll try and answer it. If not, we'll have to table it and take it offline.
Okay, thank you. That was going to be my first question.
If you could introduce yourself, I know who you are, but...
Libby Hilson at Chatham Borough. First of all, congratulations to everyone who's elected and re-elected, and Happy New Year. So that was going to be my first question, is if I have questions, do I just ask them and sit down, or do I...
Yeah, for quick yes and no's, we'll try to get through them, but we're not going to get into a lengthy conversation.
Okay, and then if there's anything on the agenda that hasn't been discussed yet, then that waits for the second public commentary? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, my first question then is policy and planning. There's a policy that's being reviewed for school visitors. Can you tell me what policy number that is?
9150. 9150.
And can you tell me why? Or is that not a yes or no?
Chairman Connors, you want to...
We're early.
He likes it too.
Safety is always a big concern, and we're just...
Has something happened that caused it to come?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to jump in. There's 142 school shootings since Sandy Hook. 142 school shootings since Sandy Hook. That's what's happened. We are not taking school safety lightly. We cannot have people roaming the buildings.
I'm just curious if there was something that happened in the schools that...
No, just sorry, Rich. This one just gets me. I mean, there's just too many school shootings.
No, nothing in particular. It's more just of an overall view. Quite frankly, it was something that I teed up. I was concerned about it, and I think that's something, as Jill said, we live in a different world right now, unfortunately.
Agreed. Okay,
It's something that will be an ongoing discussion, which is quite frankly why I'm thrilled someone like Valenti is on the board now, because Mike has a long, outstanding history and experience with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. And we're leaning on Mike for a lot of guidance. But it's more of a concern, quite frankly. It's a concern that I think every parent, unfortunately, we have to have more today than our parents have. But you'll still be allowed in.
No, I was just curious. My second question relates to the Chromebooks in the middle school. I think they're for 6th and 7th grade, is that right?
6th, 7th, and 8th.
6th, 7th, and 8th. Okay. I was just curious how the money got paid for those Chromebooks. My son is in 7th grade, and I only remember seeing just a quick one-question survey. Would you approve Chromebook for your son or daughter, yes or no? But I was wondering where in the budget that came from. No, it's a twofold question. That's number one. And number two, from reading the policy to accept it, it seems that it's part of what's called like Google Education. Is that right or wrong? And so I kind of wanted to know how Google Education fits into this as the second question.
Okay. Well, first question is we have a dedicated portion of our budget that goes to technology purchases. So we have a cyclical program throughout our schools where we're constantly every summer purchasing computers and devices for the students.
So like the Chromebooks that are on the carts and things?
Correct.
Okay.
So we reached a tipping point essentially where we had more devices than students in the district. And we've been at that point for a while, not just because of what we budget, but because of the gifts that the CEF and the PPOs have provided us. So in terms of a dollar expenditure, it was within our operating budget, just like it is every year.
You have more devices than students?
Correct.
Okay. So you took some of the devices you had already and just
We
dedicated them to
reallocated
systems?
many of the devices.
Okay.
And in terms of Google Apps for Education, we've been using Google Apps for Education and Google Classroom. In pretty much all of our schools, though the high school also operates with Schoology. And the Chromebooks, of course, give you access to Google Classroom anytime.
So nothing really has changed as far as what they see on the Chromebooks or the education? It's always been that we had the Chromebooks, now they're just dedicating them to those groups?
We were always using, or not always, but for a number of years, we've used Google Classroom, Google Apps for Education, and for a number of years, we've used Chromebooks. We had used netbooks before that, but the Chromebooks are much less expensive. So instead of housing most of them here, instead we're distributing them next year at the high school. We'll do the same thing, 9, 10, 11, 12, we'll get Chromebooks next year. And we're close, actually, right now, we're about 79 Chromebooks short of having one for every student at Lafayette. But we do not plan on sending them home with Lafayette students.
And it's all under the umbrella sort of Google Apps for Education, so I just sort of wondered
Well, it's all under the umbrella of our curriculum and our program, but
Okay.
Google Apps for Education is one platform that we use among others to deliver our instruction.
And the curriculum that's contained in them, though, is still ours, it's not Google.
No, Google doesn't come with a curriculum.
Okay.
It's an email system, scheduling system, et cetera.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Silvernack. Another opportunity at the end, too, if something piques your interest.
Thank you.
Sorry, Paul.
Is it okay?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I have a little crew here to talk to you guys and give you an update on the Chatham High School Paddle Club. I'm Paul Ivins, live in Chatham Borough. My son, Paul Ivins, also would have been here, but he went home early today from school because he was sick. So I'm going to stand in and present for him, along with Colin Schroeder and Heather Ivins, who are they're the vice presidents of the Paddle Club. And this is Patty Hogan, a representative from the American Platform Tennis Association. And I'll introduce her a little bit more in a few minutes. But we're going to give you an update on the Paddle Club. And thank you again for your support. A little over a year ago, we came before you guys and you voted and approved the Paddle Club as a function within the high school. And our long-term goal was to turn it into a varsity team over the course of time. And we're cooking up ideas on how to do that. We want to work with you guys on making that happen. But today is just about giving you an update on how things are going. And they're going great. That's the summary. Can you guys pass out the handouts? We have handouts for the board.
You have to hand out, Colin. Yeah.
I'll start talking instead of spending time while these guys are handing them out to the folks on the dais and anybody else who wants one. So I'll start with the vision for the club, which is basically the vision that we started with. The kids wanted to introduce paddle to lots and lots of other kids. As I'm sure you guys are aware, paddle's a pretty popular sport around this area. Lots of kids in town play, lots of adults and parents in town play. And Paul, Heather, and Colin wanted to grow I'm fighting the same cold that everybody else is fighting. They wanted to grow the paddle, grow the sport of paddle among kids in town and in neighborhood communities. So they wanted to start this paddle club, and that's what it's all about. It's an inclusive club. Anybody who wants to play can join the club, and that's what's been going on. This is our second season now, and it's been going great. So that's the vision. On page 3, here's a quick update of what's happening with the paddle club. It was founded by Paul, Heather, and Colin, and approved by you guys in December 2015. And what's interesting about paddle as a sport is it appeals to kids who aren't necessarily going to make the wrestling team or the swimming team or play basketball. It's got a nice broad appeal to all kinds of types of students. And you can see by the number of kids that we've had join over the last 2 years, it's pretty broad reaching. In the first year we had 70 signups and about 15 kids showed up each week to play. And this year we had 90 signups and we have an average of around 20 kids that show up each week. Not the last couple of weeks in December by the holidays, but all the weeks before that. And the clinics are run by Patty, who's a former national champion multiple times. She's an APTA Hall of Fame member, inducted into the APTA Hall of Fame. She's on the board of the American Platform Tennis Association, and she runs all of the junior programs across the country, including the Junior Nationals competition, which happens in usually late February or early March every year. And she has been wonderful teaching the kids each week in these clinics. And we've had so many kids that have never touched a paddle before joining the club. And they came out there, and it was hilarious in the first couple of weeks. They're trying to figure out which side of the paddle to hit the ball with. And then over the course of the weeks and the months of playing, and last year and this year, they're having volleys, they're playing, or having rallies, they're playing games. And it's just a beautiful thing to see these kids who you probably wouldn't see on the basketball team coming out and playing and having a great time and really enjoying it. So it's been going wonderfully well. The court time for the club has been donated by Center Court both years, and the Chatham Athletic Foundation and the Chatham High School Athletic Boosters both supported the startup of the club last year and for this year. So the community support we've gotten for paddle has just been overwhelming and wonderful. In addition to the high school part of the club, there's another part of the club, and these guys wanted to, in part of the spirit of growing paddle among younger kids and creating a feeder program, this is on page 4, they said they wanted to teach Chatham middle school students about the game. So they organized clinics where the experienced high school players like Colin and Heather and a handful of others run clinics under the supervision of a pro, and they run clinics for the middle schoolers. And last year and this year, we've had over 60 kids each year sign up for these clinics. And it's 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade kids, boys and girls. There's a ton of 6th grade girls that signed up this year, which was fantastic. And it's just, the kids love the game. A lot of those kids never played, most of those kids never played paddle before. And they're getting exposed to the sport, and these guys are just doing a tremendous job getting them interested, making them have fun, and learning a new sport. And paddle is a lifelong sport for these kids, so it's kind of a fun, long-term thing. And for the middle school clinics, the Minnesink has donated the court time last year and again this year. So the community support has been fantastic. Moving on to page 5, I'd like to have Patty take over as the APTA board member responsible for the juniors.
And thank you for letting us have this opportunity here. And I've been involved in junior paddle. I'll do my quick 1-minute version for you guys here. Because it's really warm in this room, and we just came off the paddle court about a half hour ago, and we still have way too many layers on. But paddle is such a fun sport, and it's something that I've been involved with for 3 decades. And I was a tennis player in college, and I was introduced to platform tennis. Jimmy Clark was an early influence. I think he knows someone here on the board. And it's a lifetime sport, and everyone who plays is passionate about it. And the most amount of kids who play in the country are in New Jersey. Chatham is home of the kids who have won the most amount of national titles. There's a team, Bobo Delaney's daughter, Delaney and Ross, who won 5 junior national titles right out of our backyard here. And it was because they had passionate parents who were interested in it and providing this opportunity for kids to learn. And I've been around the block, not as long as Mrs. Kramer, but I've been around like 30 years, and I've probably taught over 1,000 kids. And this opportunity that the Ivans came to me with was so much fun, because these are 2 of the best kids in Paul that I've been involved with. And these kids are all learning, because of their middle school involvement, they're learning to be compassionate individuals. And I think they represent an amazing part of this Chatham community. And I think the more that we can give these kids an opportunity for growth through platform tennis, it's just going to enhance our entire community, and it's what makes Chatham an amazing town to come live, be here, be a part of it. So my part of it is APTA. We run a Viking Junior Tour, and because of their program here, we've added another tournament this year. And it's going to be at the end of the month, and these 3 are going to be a big part, and Paul, about running it. And I think a big part of these guys becoming responsible adults is that they have responsibilities. So, they have to kind of heed the call with me. I'm their pro. And then it's fascinating to watch them then be the pros and be honored by the middle school kids. And, it's creating such an amazing cycle here. Had a conversation with 4 pros this weekend in Chicago, and they're going to copy this model. And we're going to figure out, they have to get the booster support. I explained how this program got off the ground. They have a ton of paddle players out there. Chicago probably has 5,000 men and women who play in leagues out there, but we're ahead of it on the junior side. So we're creating this model, and we have this junior tour. We're hosting junior nationals here in March. And the great thing is we're starting this high school league that we hope will then be the framework. You know, we keep taking baby steps toward making this a varsity sport. And we have so many kids in high school who play, and it's such, you know, it's such about the socialization as well, the camaraderie. It's not just about the competition. I mean, this platform test will provide an opportunity for so many kids in this community really to be in a place where they can learn another lifetime sport. And there's something about being on a soccer team, football team, all those team sports, great. Platform tennis, lifetime skills, second to none. That's my pitch. I'm happy to be involved with it.
So,
Thank you for your support as a community.
yeah, so the APTA is basically,
Have you discussed anything, obviously the point person is, anything with the state, the Athletic Association of making this an NJSIAA sponsored sport, or have you done anything?
I've tried. I reached out to them a couple of months ago, well, no, probably about 6 months ago, via the contact form on their email, on their website, and nobody ever got back to me. I talked to some friends of friends who were involved with the NJSIAA, and paddle is not a sport listed within the NJSIAA. And from what I hear, it might take 4,000 or 5,000 years to add another sport to their list. So similar to some other sports that are approved within the high school, what we did is we worked with the APTA to create a league where the kids could play, and they could play other high schools, where it would be a sanctioned league by the official sanctioning body of that sport across the country. So the NJSIA doesn't have paddle. That was the first place we looked, but it's not a sport within NJSIA.
And they turned to us as the APTA, and we are actually sponsoring a couple events this year for high school play.
Right.
And that's going to be the first step. Okay.
Not through that association, right?
APTA, well, you didn't know that.
Through the NJSIA?
No, not that.
Yep. So we tried that. I mean, if anybody has ideas on how to help us navigate that.
I don't think we should get caught up, I mean, the word sport, if you picture in your mind and define the word sport, paddle will fall into that description. It has all the tenements of the sport. Just because some governmental agency or bureaucrat hasn't gotten around to adding it, that should not be the encumbrance at all. But that's my own opinion.
Aren't there other high school sports that are not part of, I mean, bowling isn't, right? Sailing?
Bowling is, sailing is not.
Cheerleading is not.
Cheerleading is
Right.
not. So it's the same model as this.
Right. Although you don't have pom-poms.
We don't have pom-poms unless there's something I don't know.
He's got one on his hat. He's got one on his hat.
There we go.
He hasn't done this presentation.
Right.
Are we going to hear from Colin and Heather?
They weren't prepared to present, but they're more than happy to answer questions if you guys have. But the bottom line is the APTA just on Friday, with Patty's help, announced the formation of the first high school paddle league in the United States. And it's the Mid-Atlantic High School Paddle League, which is tremendous, and that's huge. And that gives us a forum, and all the other high schools a forum to play against each other.
Well, you've been working with other communities and trying to set, other districts and trying to set up a league.
Yes.
Because I was actually shocked when I did some research and, the Milburns, the Summits, the Mountain Lakes of the world don't have it, but that doesn't mean they won't. And I believe from what I've heard is that we create a model and others will soon follow. And this could be.
Right, and that's what Patty was talking about. And, if you go to the page, I think it says 6, basically there's about 10 or 15 other clubs and teams throughout the country. Most are in the Pennsylvania, kind of Philadelphia suburb area. Then there's a couple peppered in Connecticut and New York, and there might be one in Delaware, and there's a couple in Chicago. So our game plan within this APTA league is to start playing the other high schools that already have teams, and then in parallel work with local high schools to get them to, give them our model and have them get things going. So Mr. Kai, who's the faculty advisor for the paddle club and also the varsity girls and boys tennis coach, he sent an email over the weekend, basically. We talked to him after the APTA made their announcement, and he sent an email with a flyer that you'll see as one of the last pages of this handout to 20 high schools that we play tennis against, to their high school coaches, to as a way to get them going. And as parents, we've had lots of conversations with the Madison, kids who play paddle that go to Madison High School and Summit. So we're trying to drum up the grassroots support, give them our template, teach them how to do it so that they in fact can turn it into a club or team at their high school as well. So we're
In
working
terms
those
of
parallel.
expenses, it'd be, I mean, because you've got a lot of community support with regard to the Minnesinks and Center Court.
Yep, yep.
But we're talking paddles, the balls, the sneakers, but
And that's what the kids,
Yeah.
so we've gotten, when we started the club, we reached out to parents and we had so many people donate stuff to us. So if a kid comes to the paddle club without a paddle, we have like 20, we have a bag full of 20 paddles that they can use that have been donated.
So it's a low-impact cost for potential
Yes.
young
Yes.
kids playing and even the high. So you don't need a whole lot of equipment, like for lacrosse, my kid
No,
plays
no.
lacrosse, I'll stick with that one.
Just
Right?
sneakers and that's it, and more clothing. That's about it.
And there's also precedent, because I think you have Fairmount that's been supporting the girls' golf team.
Same.
So there is a precedent out there of local communities supporting and rehab. You guys got a lot of support for that, right?
Yeah. So with that, there's some flyers in the back. You could, the APTA has actually, which is pretty interesting, one of 6 U18 junior national ranking tournaments. Has Patty organized this with the APTA, the Chatham High School Paddle Club U18 Junior National Ranking Tournament. It's going to happen at Center Court in Minnesota on January 29th, Sunday. So if you guys happen to be around, it starts around, I think, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and see high-level kids and other kids play in a pretty competitive paddle. It's kind of neat. It's only one of 6 ranking tournaments across the country for U18 players, which is tremendous. So with that, do you guys have any questions? I mean, for Colin and Heather?
Is there anything you want to share? Heather, you look like you're chomping at the bit to say something.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about your experience, one of you, or both of you?
Well, I've been playing for like 6 years, and I've loved it ever since I've started.
So you can crush Colin.
Yeah.
Dude, there was no hesitation.
Okay.
And I think like a part that I like about it is that like I get to play people from all different towns and like traveling to play in like tournaments and like meeting all the different people. Like that's an aspect of paddle that's a little bit different than what we have at the paddle club. It's like turning it into a varsity sport and bring that into the kids at the high school, and that would just make that sport a lot better because it's what I love about it.
What about you, Colin? What have you?
I just love the sport. It's so much fun.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And
About the clinics, no?
I was taller than them at one point.
About the clinics you guys run? Great.
it's a lot of fun. You I'm not.
You want to chime in?
Well, you guys come up with a game plan, because they've learned through taking lots of clinics for years with myself and some other pros in the area. And then you guys come up with your game plan. So you get out there, you have the kids, they rotate from court to court, you teach them each different skills. So you guys have had to learn how to become teachers out there.
Yeah, we take like all the different drills that we do, and we have to like change them a little bit so it's a little bit easier for the middle school kids. But
Are you nicer than I am? Don't answer.
She hesitated.
I have a quick question. When you two young folks head on to college, are there programs in college waiting, or will you have to be leaders and help pave the way and create this sport in college and help expand it?
probably need to take it into our own hands a little bit.
Well, it's another area of growth the APTA is working on currently. And Carter, who played kicker for Del Barton last year, is up at Middlebury. And he's playing on the football team and texted me a picture. Early October, he says he doesn't get a lot of time for paddle right now, but he was out on the Middlebury courts, and I go up to Lake George sometimes, so I said I would come over, and he's going to organize a group of kids. And so that's another area of growth, and there's lots of colleges near private clubs, and every club who's asked to use their courts really gives their courts up. Everyone wants to be a part of growing junior paddle. So
And I think if
we're kind of out in front of it right here.
Yeah, and basically, the first league for paddle, the first high school league, just creating it now, and the next step is to turn it into a varsity sport at the high school level, and then maybe over the course of time it'll become a college sport. Because there's a handful of colleges that have courts, but no team. I don't know if there's any teams in college that we know of. But
I wish
that's the next
you all
frontier.
a great deal of luck, and I commend your passion and dedication.
Thank you very much.
Before you step down, harking back to something that Ms. Weber said years ago when fencing was up. And she said if it gives a kid who wouldn't play a sport otherwise involvement in their sport and walks around the school hallways with little pop in their step, then it's absolutely worth it. And he indicated that it seems the kids who play, paddle's a winter sport. So their kids who play paddle would not necessarily be playing any other winter sport, so it's giving them something to do in the winter's a long season. So I absolutely applaud it, and I wish you guys the best of luck and keep on keeping on.
Great. Thank you guys so much for your support. And it would be great to work with you on next steps to...
And you have Matt's email, right? Do you think you can email Matt your finances?
Sure.
Your budget?
Yeah,
Either Pat or...
I'd love to have a call with you just to find out what kind of stuff you look for. One big...
Tomorrow afternoon, I'm like back in the saddle.
Okay.
Email me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Great job, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks for your time, everybody.
No budget stuff.
You definitely find out and share about it.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We still have an opportunity for public commentary if anybody would like to jump on board. There'll be a second opportunity at the end of the meeting, so if you just stand by a few minutes, we'll get there quickly. So the first item on our regular agenda is personnel. Mrs. Ciccarelli?
Oh, yes, I'd like to move action item, or agenda items A1 to A19 for vote.
Second.
Thank you.
Mike, did you look? Has there never been a 50-year anniversary before? That's incredible.
I didn't look, but I can't imagine.
I can't imagine either. I'm just...
I didn't appreciate that she was the woman who rode the bike. She told me to.
It's pretty cool.
Because there are some stories that came out of Sandy that are so unbelievable, blow you away. Makes me feel like a little sissy right now.
Understand.
And my kid wants to ride home from high school.
And it's downhill.
And it's downhill.
She's amazing.
Any questions about personnel for Dr. LaSousa or Ms. Grant? Who loves questions? Seeing none, Mr. DeQuilla, would you mind?
Agenda items A1 through A19. Mr. Gilfield?
Yes.
Mr. Arnott?
Yes.
Ms. Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Abstain.
And Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Agenda items passed 501.
Excellent. Moving on to finance and facilities, Mr. Gilfillan?
Yes, I'd like to move action items B1 through 17 on your regular agenda.
Second.
Just a couple of small donations this week. One from Jan Carm, or Behind the Wheel with Carm, the amount of $500 to be used for the Chatham High School Lit Dub Club start. What are they, like an anti...
I looked it up.
It's a lip sync.
Done to videos. Why is the driving school back in that?
Because we obviously shed them a lot of money.
Okay. I was just curious the connection between the driving school and audio.
Either that or there is one of the members on the
Yeah, that's right.
on the club that
The last thing we need.
started with the driving school and you got to know them, or the driving instructor is a lip syncer as well. I don't.
I had to look up what a lip
I had to look up what the club was before I would put that on the agenda.
Thank you to Jonathan Thomas and his Chubb matching gift in the amount of $50 to be used at the discretion of Lafayette School Principal. And then the General Mills box top donation, in the amount of $195 to be used at Milton Avenue School at the discretion of the principal. And last but not least, a Benevity Community Impact Fund grant through Time Warner matching the program. Thank you, and this is our.
I don't know.
Thank you very much for all this.
No donations too small though.
No donations, too small.
Does anybody have any questions for Matt or Peter on any of the finance or facility items? Seeing none, Peter, do you mind?
Agenda items B1 through B17. Mr. Gilfield?
Yes.
Mr. Arnott?
Yes.
Ms. Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Abstain.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Agenda items passed 501.
Okay. Ms. Clark had to leave. Her son was sick. He was sick when she left the house. He's sicker now. He's sicker. He's more sick. So in any event, I'm going to move curriculum items C1 through C4.
Second?
Second.
What is the last day of school then next year?
Of this year, or this
17, 18.
the 19th of June. It's Tuesday. Is graduation this year on a Friday?
Yes,
So one more 8th grade graduation, isn't it?
yes, graduation this year is on a Friday.
Okay, this year's graduation grade is the Friday?
No.
The high school graduation is Friday. 8th grade is Wednesday, right?
I think it's Wednesday, I have to double check.
That's better.
As long as you're all right.
From the wine country.
Okay. Any questions on curriculum? Ms. Chase is equally eager for questions. Karen, in all seriousness, on item 2, is that just a plan that you just submit to the state? Is that just something you review annually?
We create the plan in-house and then we provide a statement of assurance to the state.
Okay. In the form of just documentation or?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I know I've asked that before, so thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
No additional questions on curriculum? Oh,
No.
okay, Peter?
Yes. Agenda items C1 through C4. Mr. Gilfillan?
Yes.
Mr. Arnott?
Yes.
Ms. Chicarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Abstain.
And Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Agenda items passed 501.
Passing it on to policy, Chairman Connors.
It's a great ring to it. Move action item number 1.
Second. Any questions on the policy? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Mike's abstaining?
Well, you're not adding much value to that.
Agenda item D1 passes 501.
We're going to move on to board business. Does anybody have anything pressing? Like, nothing pressing?
Nothing pressing.
I just had a question on the construction. I know we've been hammering the architects. Are they going to get the first set of projects out to bid in the next month or so? Is that the plan? I just don't have the timeline.
That is the plan.
Okay. Is there anything that would derail that plan?
No, we have a conference call scheduled for later in the week about the Cougar Field bleachers and footing and padding underneath the bleachers on the home side. And other than that, I think he's on schedule.
On schedule? And I was more concerned about the other projects, actually. The high school bid, the middle school bid, STEM, and the middle math addition. You've not heard anything to the contrary that those days?
We haven't heard anything to the contrary, but we plan on talking with him this week about all of that.
All right, does anybody else have any additional board business or questions related to construction or otherwise? No? Nothing else? Okay, great. We have our second opportunity for public commentary. It's thinned out a little bit, but Libby, did you have?
Yes, I do.
The crowd is thinned out, so I figured it might be.
Should I sign in again or no?
No, that's okay.
I just got a quick question on item 7.
I'm sorry, which, finance?
Yes, E7. Appropriation of capital reserve, $2 million for the central office building, and I guess we're getting rid of the existing obsolete special services building. Is that the little building up by Lafayette?
Right at the top of the hill at Lafayette, yes. We've had several engineers come in, and I know Peter can speak on this better from a construction point of view. We've had several engineers come in, and they said that that building has sort of reached its shelf life. Structurally, and the basement's a mess, there's some asbestos, so they recommend we move our staff out of there. And I think they're moving out February, correct?
One is out already, the other 4 are going out.
Okay.
And where is it moving? To a new central office building?
Well, this staff is going to move to the Myersville in empty space, and we'll just pay additional rent. And then we're looking for where can we put this group of employees as well as the central office staff. Is there any place that we can build in the district to staff all of our people, including these special services?
I'm sorry, so that you're looking to relocate all the central office people.
That would be optimal.
If in fact we could find space.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We're still kind of in the preliminary plans.
So the $2 million is then just to take down the existing building? Proves that $2 million of capital reserve is appropriate use for the emerging construction of a new building. Plus demolition. So it's $2 million to take it down and then construct something new, but we don't know where that new.
We're looking at a few sites, but we're working with the architects, what would be the most optimal, what would be the cheapest, you know.
And this is outside of the,
Oh, yeah, this is outside of
capital reserve.
referendum, that's correct.
But to your question, the $2.1 million is what is in capital reserve now. But you're not permitted to use that money for a purpose unless you specify it on a board agenda. So it just gives us the ability to tap into the capital reserve to address the need of this particular building.
But so ultimately, all of the administrative offices will be moved out of Myersville, is that right?
That would be the perfect.
That would be optimal.
Your lips to God's ears.
Okay, all right, thanks.
The only comment I'd like to add, we're appropriating a portion of the capital reserve. The $2.1 million is a percentage of the balance, the reserve balance, not the entire balance.
Thank you. And just a quick question, actually, Libby mentioned something that struck my, just had a quick question on the special services that are moving into the space up in the township. I know it's going to be tight. Is it appropriate for privacy and all that? Just because of the nature of the items that they handle? There's locks on the doors, there's...
Yes, and we're working to ensure that anything will be secure.
I know there's, you know, they're not just going to be stuck in the gym downstairs.
No. They'll be in the, potentially within a very easy stone's throw or 30-second walk from our offices.
Okay.
So it'll be in the same floor as the current building. I mean, the current office.
Okay. And the staff will be that staff will be close enough?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
What percentage of the reserve balance is it?
The current balance is approximately $2.8 million, so we're using appropriating $2.1 million.
And if you'd gone to Chatham school system, you'd know what percentage of 2.1 is. I know.
I went to Astoria, so I'm absolved from answering that
I did
question.
not go to, so I can't give that to you.
75%. 21 over 28.
Someone will know.
Mr. Bannock.
Valenti, can you add to that?
Mr. Bannock would be separate.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought of my one last question. Do I have 1 minute?
Well, we missed our opportunity, so, to close the meeting, so yes.
You know that this is the...
question really that I've always kind of wondered about.
You know the Clemson game is on, right?
7-0 Alabama.
What was that?
7-0 Alabama.
All right, I have to cheat those out.
I don't have that app. It's just a procedural question on policy. When you say like first and second reading of a policy, are these read ever out loud at Board of Ed meetings, or it's just part of the appendix that's provided?
Yeah, they're never read out loud. Not in the last 5 years I've been.
No, it's not the whole thing, that's just, there's the first, basically the first review, and then the second, but they will never be read out loud.
Out loud, but
But you can certainly get your hands on them.
there's a part of the appendices, I think, to the agenda, right? Right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you got a lot of questions from Chairman Thomas.
Well, she's missed a few meetings.
You're the new chairperson, so.
Chairman, but that's okay.
I make a
He
motion
likes
to
to be
move
called
the public meeting. We do not have an executive session, correct? Nope. Anybody going to second my motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Can I have a ride home?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are we meeting after or no?